Going live. And this way, if there's anything wrong, we can, you know, adjust.
We do have autofocus on right now, and because you're kind of wandering around, it's not sure what to focus on.
Focus on my booty. Should
The chair's in focus.
should you have eye focus?
I'm pretty sure that's enabled.
Is it? Focus on my eyes. Ooh, it's Vincent. Hi, Vincent. I'm early. So are you. Where's Vincent coming from? Oh, I don't have to type. I always do this. Hi, Vincent. Where are you visiting us from? In Sweden. Hello from Sweden. Where in Sweden? I have a friend. Well, she doesn't live there anymore. She moved to Amsterdam. She was getting her PhD there. Well, we could get started since it's a Norland. I actually don't know where that is. How far is that from, where am I thinking?
Stockholm?
Yeah, Stockholm. Hi, Linda. How's it going? I'm sorry. I'm like trying to look at the chat. It's very there's a lot of glare. What do people want to talk about? Vincent, you got a question? Linda? Any questions? I did a really poor job. Oh, is that like way north? Grow lights. Hidden harvest grow lights. Hello. I'm like reading grow lights. From New Hampshire. Thank you. We purposely, yeah, I could say we purposely did the back wall so that it looks nice on camera. Oh no, our dog's throwing up. Yeah, Voga.
Maybe they meant New Hampshire is a nice place.
New Hampshire's a nice place?
Our place is a nice place.
Is our place not beautiful? My place is pretty beautiful. We need a cleanup crew.
Yeah.
There's dog puke on the floor. What do people want to hear about? What kind of questions do we have? I was going to talk about lighting, but, you know, since you guys are here, you can ask me whatever plant-related question you want. Yes, I was saying earlier, I did not do a very good job preparing this live stream. I wanted to talk about, well, I've been wanting to talk about lights and plants. I'm struggling. I'm gonna have a cup of coffee, a sip of coffee.
It's a hangout.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to talk about what bright and direct light means and how much light your plant really needs. Just because there's like so many new people kind of coming into the hobby, which is great. But, you know, people asking questions like, can I put a plant in a bathroom that has no light? You can if you put a grow light in. You know, simple things like that. I think, you know, plants are living things, basically. Okay, I got some. I have neighbors barking for 3 hours. Be right back. Okay. Your plant stand and color looks great. Lighting would be good. We have no sun here. In Minnesota? Well, oh, hi from Croatia. Hello. Amran? Butchering that name, but hello from Croatia. So lighting. Well, I would say that if you don't have natural light like I do, well, like I don't have natural light, that much natural light in this apartment either, because it's a west-facing, I have one west-facing window, which you guys can't see because it would be super blown out if we showed you. But I also have a massive tree and also an awning. So there's a lot of things kind of blocking the natural light. So I do rely on a lot of grow lights, and I did do a full grow light video. It's called Do Plants Need Grow Lights in the Winter? And we can link that in the we can link that in the chat.
Sure.
I'm talking to Dan, who's helping me out. Yeah, so I rely on grow lights or just lights to really help the plants grow. I would say I would give you guys a quick, see if I could give you a quick spin around to see what this place looks like. Oh no. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. We are, oh, I can't really even see. Okay, well, this is the window. It looks horrible. Can you even see anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's just blown out, but we see the plants inside.
Okay, yeah, so there's basically artificial lighting all over this place, trying to, you know, keep the plants happy and alive. It does, you know, the natural light does help, of course, and the plants respond really well to sunlight. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. So for these shelvings, there's lighting all up here. I did a house, you should probably check out my most recent house tour video, which we haven't done a new one in a long time, but that goes through what my setup is. Do you have any specific questions about lighting? The plant stand or the plant shelving that I have is actually from IKEA. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with it. The only downside is they're wood, so when I water, the water gets onto it, so I have to be really careful about that. Lighting. So I don't know if you guys watched my most recent video, but I used the light meter, so let me talk about that a little bit. Let me go get it. Oh, I should probably get my phone as well. I will show you guys on the other one as well. Okay. Hi Mel from Kansas. If you have any questions about plants, just type them in the chat and I'll try my best to answer your questions. So I want to pull up my light meter app. I am on Android. And in my last video, we linked the where to download this app. But it just looks like this. I'm waiting for the lag. Yeah, so depending on how your phone works, but the camera that senses the light with this app is in the front. So, and I think it works pretty well. So let's do a comparison because somebody was didn't trust the app. And I personally actually didn't trust the app either in the beginning, so I went out and bought this light meter and did a comparison test, and honestly, it's about the same, especially if you're just using it to, you know, doing what we're using it for, which is just measuring the light for the plant. So you have to make sure it's on foot candles, and you have to, it's not the best design, but you have to change the decimal points. What do you call that?
Sensitivity, really, right?
No, it's just rounding it up by tens.
Oh, okay.
So it's just changing the decimal. Okay. All right, so how am I gonna, I need another hand. Okay. So if I am pointing this at the camera, what are we reading?
40 about.
40? Okay. So this is, I'll do this here like that, so that they're sort of equivalent. Can you guys see? Oops. This is very good. Yeah, so even though it's off, right? So this is reading 70, right?
Yeah.
And this is reading 40.
Yeah.
But what I was going to not try to explain in that video was that because your percentage of error is consistently the same, it doesn't matter, because you're still able to use it to give you as a guide. So it's not, and you could calibrate it, which I'm not sure I've ever done that. Okay, maybe we should calibrate it. Should we calibrate it on screen? I think we should be multiplying it by more to make it work better. Okay. So now it's reading, yeah, so now it's reading more close to what it was before, or what the light meter was. So you can calibrate it to get it to work. Has anybody here downloaded a light meter app to try to help read the light? I think this is great. It's free. This other light meter, this weird machine that looks like it was built in the 70s, I don't know. Before I was born, basically. Yeah, it was $30 on Amazon, and it's a fun toy, but you don't need it. Okay. Well, I don't have any questions so far, but yeah, I would say that if you are new to plants, or even I myself use this because I want to know how far, especially if I'm putting in a grow light, I want to know where to put, I can't talk today, this is so bad.
Don't worry, we're not going live for 2 more minutes.
What? Stop. Don't worry. I'm just gonna keep talking, and you guys can ask me questions if you want to. Oh, right. So a better example is when I was putting up the plant wall, we had to measure, I measured the light to make sure how close I wanted it from the wall, so that the lowest level of the plant wall would be getting at least 200 foot candles, because that is the minimum amount of light that I like to give my plants. Even though, you know, some of the references that I linked in my previous video, which was last week? Which video was it that I was talking about that spreadsheet with Daryl?
I don't remember.
Anyway, there's a, hello. What is the app called? It's actually just called a light meter.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, there's actually many. And can you link the light meter app?
Sure.
Thank you. Dan's the best. Yeah, so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so, right. Even though some research have said that, you know, some plants can survive with 50-foot candles, it's not the best. like, I want my plants to thrive. I don't want them to just, survive. And that's why when people, I don't want to say I get really upset, but it is frustrating when you are on Facebook or, Reddit, wherever you are, and people are like, oh, you can put a Sansevieria in the dark and it'll do great. I'm like, no, it's dying a slow death. That's what it's doing. And if you water it, and this is how most people kill their plants too, is that they don't give their plants enough light, and then they water it, and then they wonder why the plant dies. Well, those two things are a balance, right? You're welcome. Mel, how long have you been into houseplants? I know a lot of people joined the cult during the pandemic. But it's a fulfilling hobby if you don't constantly kill your plants, which can happen because every plant is different and it's a trial and error. Okay. Yeah, so 50-foot candles is really what you want, at least. And while, I'm pretty bright right now because I have a light. You guys can't see, but I have a light right here that's shining on me. So even though I look really bright on the screen, this is only giving off 300-foot candles, which is not a lot in the terms of plants. Plants they're really gonna thrive. I would say most plants are really gonna thrive 500-foot candles. And so that's why even when you think about like 200-foot candles, it's not a lot. Okay. And of course, the hidden harvest grow light person can correct me. I'm assuming that they're in some kind of grow light business. Yeah, so this is reading 150 right now, which is not even enough for a low light plant like, say, a peace lily. So I guess one of the main points that I would like to get across is that while you perceive light to be very bright with our eyes, plants see light very differently. So I'm having a mental block. You cannot use your eyes to judge how much light or if a plant is getting enough light. Let me just turn this so you can see how close I have my light to my monstera. So in that lamp shade, there are 3 CFL light bulbs, and that monstera is about a foot away from it, if not a little bit closer. And it has the window, obviously, so it's just supplementing the lighting. But I'm very happy about this. This monstera is looking a bit drab right now because I was underwatering it over the winter. But look at this leaf. Oh, I can't go over there because the cable's not long enough, but I am so happy with this leaf. The fenestrations on the edge and in the middle. Yeah, that was caused by sunlight because that window right there gets a bit of light in the afternoon, although now that the tree across the street has come into bloom, it's not going to be it's going to be shielding a lot of the sunlight, which is why I need grow lights in here. Yes, so do you have a monstera, Mel? They are such a classic plant and really one of my favorite. I don't think I can ever live without one now that I have one or two. And they're so easy to propagate. Oh, yes. I actually had thrips. I haven't checked lately, but a couple of weeks ago I noticed thrips on mine, and I just use a systemic to treat it, and that seems to work pretty well. I used to freak out about pests, but now I'm like, it's just part of the hobby. So I'll show you what I use. I don't know what you're using, Mel, to treat it, but it is obviously a good idea to quarantine your plant if it has pests, because it is very likely to get into something else or get onto another plant. So I found this to be very helpful for thrips. So if you can get it where you are, Mel, yeah, you can get it. You're in Kansas, yeah. So this is what I use. I used to go about like spraying it and bringing it to the shower. I didn't really find any of those things to be super helpful, but this is what you need. It's not great for insects, but if you have, plants mainly indoors, then it should be okay. What else do I want to tell you guys about lighting? I don't know. I was hoping that you guys would have questions for me. Yeah, so minimum 200-foot candles is what I give most of my plants using a light meter. I'll try that and see if there's any more, yeah. Yeah, I've gotten thrips on multiple plants before, and that is my go-to. I use that for most of my pests, like they're my pets. Yeah, I use the systemic for mealybugs. It doesn't work on spider mites, but it works on thrips. For spider mites, are we having a pest talk? I guess, might as well. Okay, so spider mites. This is what I use for spider mites. This horticultural oil that I mix with Castile soap, and I just make a spray. So there's a video on this called Murder Spray that we made. Yeah, so it's basically horticultural oil mixed with Castile soap is what I use to deal with spider mites, and it actually has worked really well because this stuff is super toxic, and if you overdose it will burn the plant and also kill the spider mites. But yeah, that is what I use. Okay, I'm going to go around and test the light and see where I'm at. Yeah. And when you do that, Mel, or after you do that, come back and tell me what you discover. Because I think a lot of people don't, it's just hard because plants perceive light very different from the human eye. And so, yeah, I don't think you can use your eye to really measure the light. So for a Monstera deliciosa, actually, it can tolerate, well, it's not even tolerate, it can thrive in full sunlight if you acclimate it slowly. I don't know, I'll tell you guys the story again, but last summer I put the Monstera outside and it did get burned initially, but by the end of the summer, the plant was very happy being in full direct sunlight. So, plants love light, guys. Don't put them in the dark. You're just killing them. It's like, what is it? The analogy that people use is, it's like light is the plant's oxygen, and if you're keeping them in the dark, you're basically cutting them off of their life source. Okay, what else? What else do you guys want to hear about? I could talk about my fish. Wrong channel. I haven't been doing Aqua Woman. But Is anybody else out there keeping some fish? Fish, the aquarium water is amazing for your plants, which is what I've been using. So I haven't actually been fertilizing. Although I always put some slow release fertilizer when I'm repotting my plants, which I'm very happy this year that I got. On top of that, I repotted most of my plants. Last year, I didn't repot all of my plants until like the fall. So this year, the plant wall really helped. Any questions? We got 8 viewers. Ooh, this Hoya has been doing amazing. Let me show you guys. I don't know if you can see. Everything is against the window, obviously, because that's where they get the most light. Yeah, so I think it's really funny when you see interior decorating magazines and they have like plants in the middle of the room, or like giant fiddle leaf figs 10 feet away from a window. I'm like, that thing is gonna die. Okay. Can you guys see this plant that's hanging on the window? So that is a Hoya that it's not recent. It's been like about a month or so. No, it's been there for longer than a month, but it's starting to climb up. Can you guys see that? Oh, it's so blown out. This is why we can't shoot by the window. Oh well. Maybe I'll do a houseplant tour soon so you guys can see better. Because this backlit situation is not helpful. I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing the spring plants that I planted on the balcony. So pretty. I'm not a huge, I'm definitely more of a foliage person, but I do like some color, especially in the spring. Any questions about lighting? I don't know what else I want to say about it. You want to use, yeah, I covered a lot of the different types and how to find a grow light in the grow light video that we have. Did we pin it? Yeah, it's right there, yeah. Do houseplants need grow lights for the winter? That really goes in depth through all the lumens that you're supposed to be looking for. You don't want to look at watts because watts is irrelevant to LED lights. Lumens is your biggest thing, and the Kelvin, which is the color of the light. But even that, it doesn't have to be perfect. I know in the video I said that you should use 55,000 Kelvin because that mimics daylight the best, and you do want to use full spectrum. I think they are more and more, the manufacturers are leaning away from red lights, blue lights, because they've learned that plants grow best in full spectrum lighting, meaning all the colors. So you can still grow plants using, what is the word that I'm looking for? Incandescent. That's right. Yeah, so even lights that are more yellow, so 4,000 Kelvin, you can still grow plants under that very well. Because I'm thinking about the Soltech. Is it Soltech? Yeah, Soltech solution, the really famous, expensive grow light that you can get for like $200. Yeah, they use a warm light, and it's 4,000 Kelvin. So if you don't like super white light, yeah, then you can try 4,000 Kelvin. What else? Yeah, so unless you really like pink or purple light, I wouldn't get it because it spills all over the place. But if you like it as accent lighting, I think it can look quite cool. We have many different color lights in here. We have a nighttime mode where things become purple and orange. Yeah. I removed all my pink lights because they are a bit obnoxious. You can't see anything. Everything's just pink. The dog's pink. The fish are pink. What else do you guys want to know about lighting? Let's see. You can use any type of light bulb, really, but I urge you to use LED because it's cheaper, because they consume less electricity and also they produce less heat. So you don't have to worry about it burning the plants if it's too close. I, for the most part, just have LED lights. I have a couple of CFLs. Yeah, I think the LED technology is just getting better and better. I have floodlights on my plant wall, and those do actually produce quite a bit of heat, just because I think they're so powerful as well. So you can shop around. There's so many options. You don't have to buy designated grow lights. This is what I was telling you guys in the video as well. I only have 2 grow lights, like, that were purchased as grow lights, or produced as grow lights, yeah. And they do work slightly better, I would say. Just, yeah, the intensity of them, the amount of lumens that can be produced. Because if you basically compare 2 LED bulbs that have the same wattage, you really just want to compare the lumens and see, okay, does 8 watt produce, I don't know, no, these are 11, yeah, so 11 watts, how much lumen is this bulb creating versus that? And lumens is, just think about it as brightness. So the higher the lumens, the better. And I also mentioned in the video that you want at least 900 lumens when you're looking for a grow light, air quotes. And a lot of grow lights will be higher. The floodlights that I bought kind of to replace grow lights were 850 lumens, and the ones that are actually marketed as grow lights was 900 lumens, so 50 lumens off, pretty close, but they were a fraction of the price. Because when you buy a grow light in the US, you're talking, just like a light bulb, you're at least talking $30, depending on which brand. I think GE has one that's $10 I think you can get, but the lumen on that is quite low, and I haven't actually tested any of the GE ones. I know people like them. I'm sure they work fine. What else? Yeah, so those shop lights, those are what I use for the shelving, because they're basically strip lighting and it gives you the most coverage. So I would say those are the best type of lights, especially if you are using a shelf. And shelves are the best because you can put so many plants on them. But I'm kind of happy now that I've kind of been able to space it out more. And as you can see, that my plant shelf is being taken over by fish tanks, but it's still led by my love for plants, because I love growing aquatic plants in them. The fish are more the decoration, not the plants. The fish are supporting the plant life in the tank. What else about lighting? Well, we could talk about different types of plants. I would say that your philodendrons are not going to like as much light in comparison to, say, a monstera or a Hoya. This is just from experience. They just don't like it as much. They burn, they get yellow. The Raphodora tetrasperma doesn't really like that much light. The leaves will start to yellow and possibly fall off or get burned. I have one of them growing in the fish tank right now as an experiment, and it's doing okay. It's getting a lot of light because there's a light right there. What else? Oh yeah, so this is a Raphodora tetrasperma that I kind of just put anywhere, and it does really, really well in low light. So, oh, and another way to tell, especially on this plant, is that you can tell how much light the plant is getting. Can you guys see this? Okay. Yeah, you can tell how much light. If the plant was not getting enough light, these internodes, so this is a node, this is a node, so the internode would be the gap, the distance between them would be a lot further apart. This is not the tightest I've seen it. This could actually be way tighter. Like I've seen them like really, really close to each other. So if you want to know how much light your plant is getting, it's telling you by looking at the nodes. So that's, I think, a great way to tell whether or not your plant is getting enough light. And you can do that on a philodendron. Why is this here? This is just hanging out here because I don't know where else to put it. And I'm like doing a massive reorganization of all the plants. Yeah, so like, can you guys see me all the way over here? Hello. Should I turn it a little bit?
No.
Okay.
You're small.
I'm just small. I just shrunk in size. Okay. Yeah, so this is a philodendron. This is a micans. And you can just see, you know, go over to your plant and look at how close the nodes are to each other. I would say this one could probably be getting more light, but it's happy. So I think it's, you know, I think plants are first of all, plants are programmed to survive, which makes me, when I kill a plant, it makes me feel really bad because I'm like, I know you're programmed to survive. Like, plants really, really want to live. Like, that is part of their DNA. That is what they're made to do. So, you know, you can put a plant in a low light environment and it will try its best to live. But if you want it to, you know, do really well and flower and things like that, then yeah, you're gonna have to give it more light. So it's been 22 minutes, okay. So I'm gonna stay on for about, yeah, an hour. So at 2 o'clock, we're gonna wrap things up here. But if there's anything you wanna see, questions, comments, anybody want to know when my merch is going to come out? Like, never? I don't want to create products just for the sake of creating products. Because I guess in some ways I love the environment and I don't know, I just don't want gadgets everywhere. The one thing that I was thinking of, you know, maybe producing on Kickstarter or something is just nice tools that we can use for repotting. Instead of using my kitchen forks, maybe we can have a designated fork that we can use. But I mean, those exist. But you know, if you wanted to support the channel, you gotta figure out how to do it. I don't know, not a very business mindset individual. Okay, what else? Oh, if you love alocasias, alocasias actually love a lot of light. So make sure you give them what they want. I killed my silver dragon again. I actually bought one. I found one locally for a very reasonable price. I think it was $25. And then I killed it. It doesn't really like that much humidity. The silver dragon. I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna try to get my hands on another one and see how that goes. What else do we want to talk about? So repotting all my plants. Have you guys finished repotting all your plants? It's such a, I mean, I don't know how many plants you guys have, but it is such a massive chore. I'm so happy about the plant wall. I mean, the plant wall hasn't been doing great, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna do a video about an update on it soon. But I just love having it all contained in one space. Okay, lighting. Let's go back to lighting. So we talked about shop lights, LED lights. So I really like those. I think they are great. They are very affordable. Yeah. Could you do better? Yeah. I mean, you can go out and buy, you know, a $200-300 grow light, and I don't think that that really works in most of our homes, though. It's just too much. I've seen people use them, you know, in their basements when they're like, you know, growing vegetables and stuff. I think that's great. But for houseplants, I don't think you need that kind of light intensity. And it obviously consumes a lot of electricity as well. So, I don't know. I haven't really been interested in getting like a professional grow light. I like the fact that I can, you know, set up kind of lights wherever I want, like up here, which you guys can't see. Let me see if you guys can see. On this plant stand, which we also made a video about. Okay, so maybe here. Yeah, like this. Yeah, so this is a rack that I got off of Amazon, and this is a gardening light setup, and these are just floodlights that I purchased. And they are, let me see, 11, yeah. So when you're buying something like this, like a outdoor string light, make sure to read how many watts each individual socket can hold, because yeah, this can take 11, and this is also 11, the light bulb itself. So make sure that that matches up. Otherwise, I think it's not gonna work, like if it's too strong. And they don't get hot, as you can see. I could touch it with my hand. And these were sold as floodlights, and they've been, I want to say fine, great. I don't know, because I'm not expecting, like, you know, full sun growth from them or something. It's just really to keep them going through the winter. And I do keep the grow lights on all year round, and I don't care if it's summer. Although sometimes in the summer I will turn them off because it's just too much light in here. But does well. IKEA stopped selling these grow lights. They might have brought them back, I'm not sure. But if you're in Europe, you can get them. I know that. Oh, also another thing that I wanted to try that is an IKEA product are actually these LED light panels, which seems really interesting to me, because then you can kind of like make like a fake window. Like, you know, if you wanted some plants in your bathroom, you can put one of those LED panels, and I don't know, it could be like a fake window. It'd be kind of cool. Lighting, what else? Oh, can you guys see this way? Let's look at this way. Can you guys see the fish tank? Yeah?
It's small.
Okay. Well, I have two, instead of buying aquarium lights, I have two IKEA LED lights. I like the look of them. And they are supporting the plant life in the tanks. So I think you could just be really creative in whatever, you know, works for your space. Like these are just actually plant pots that I drilled holes into to make a lampshade. And we created these, I guess shades you want to call them, for this shelf, because the LED strips were kind of blinding when you're sitting on the sofa. So this kind of covers it. We got these cut at the hardware store. And they're, I don't know if you can see, but they're a little bit blue because we put painter's tape at the back. A little accent. And this is also, oh, you can't see that far. Let me turn it. Like super tiny. Then move this chair. There we go. Yeah, and then this is also just a wall lamp that I got from IKEA. Just hangs out here, and it's supporting this Micans a little bit. This is a just a regular lamp. Has a bulb in it. Right now it's not supporting plant life, it's supporting aquatic life. But usually I have these terrariums kind of hanging out over here on this coffee table. Yeah, so there's really a lot of options that you can choose. I think as long as you use the light meter, you're good to go. There is no light. The only thing that you, like I said earlier, the things that you really need to consider are obviously how much power consumption, because people's electricity bill matter. So you want low wattage, which means LEDs are your best bet. They also produce the least heat. So LEDs are by far the best grow lights you can get. And yeah, you want to look at the lumens, which is the brightness of the light. You want at least 900. You could get away with 850, which I have over there. I told you those floodlights on the outdoor string lights setup that I have. So yeah, 900 lumens. You want a minimum of that. And then, you know, how far you put the light from the plant's canopy, you can tell by using your light meter. If it's a philodendron, you're probably gonna want, you know, you can start at 200 foot candles and see how the plant does. If it's doing well, you could bring it a little bit closer. I have these, I'm always on the lookout for some kind of like stand. So right now they're not being used. But usually I like to get these display stands so you can prop your plant up so that it goes higher to the light, and I find them very helpful. Oh, this one's on it. This alocasia. And then, you know, when they grow too tall, you can bring them back down. So yeah, I really like being creative with my plant hobby, just so that, you know, I don't want to get cornered in like I have to buy this specific thing for this specific purpose. Like, we can be creative. We can find things at the dollar store, which is, I love that place. Find all sorts of fun gadgets there. But sometimes you get into trouble, like yesterday. Not yesterday, over the weekend. Was it yesterday? No, it was Friday. I was cleaning and I broke a vase that I use as a planter. Sometimes it doesn't work out so well, but you know, you live and learn. What else can I cover? I don't know, I guess I wish I had more mobility so I can like show you guys around more. But yeah, what really works for me, as I said before, were the shop lights. You can get them really cheap on Amazon. You get a bundle of 8 and they go up. You can use double sticky tape to tape them up, or they come with little screws and clips that you can use, and they've been really good. And I got the 2-foot ones. They sell 4-foot ones that do really well. They call them shop lights on Amazon. I'm sure you can get them on eBay as well. The floodlights that I have on my plant wall, I have not been turning those on because when I was doing the plant wall, I actually removed all the medium, so all the plants needed to heal. And if your plant is suffering, don't give it that much light. It is only going to increase its suffering. And I wasn't really paying attention to that in the beginning, so yeah, some of the plants are burnt to a crisp. We're losing viewers. Our viewership is dropping. It went from 8 to 5.
Plummeted.
Hmm?
Yes, it plummeted.
Dropped by like 75%.
Better start dancing.
Better start dancing. Any other questions? Nobody has any questions? I don't know. I'm kind of out of ideas as far as lighting. I feel like the light meter is your best friend, and yeah, once you understand how much light your plant needs, like different plants will vary. I would say, you know, some Hoyas can take, you know, some direct sunlight and they'll do great. Like my variegated, I'm just looking at it. I'm looking around for inspiration right now. So I'm looking at the Hoya variegated carrii right now, and that plant, or most variegated plants, will want more light because there's less green, which means there's less chlorophyll for them to grow, or they have a smaller engine to create growth because there's less green. So therefore they want more light, or you can give them more light and they'll be happier. Yeah, most like really solid green plants aren't going to need as much light. Well, need, right? Because, you know, like I said before, if you give a Monstera deliciosa a lot of light, it's going to be super happy and it's going to grow like crazy. But a plant like peace lily, who also has solid green foliage, is not going to be as happy. And that's also because the leaf is more tender, like just when you touch it, right? So yeah, the texture, Summer Rain Oaks talks about this, and I'm definitely not an expert, but if you touch the leaf and the leaf is really thin, it is telling you that this plant's capability of holding moisture is quite low. So that's why a plant like the Calathea white fusion, its leaves are like tissue thin and it's super white. So that means it needs a lot of light and it needs to stay very, like, you know, in a humid, moist environment. Whereas you compare a Calathea white fusion leaf to a peace lily leaf, the leaf is more thick, it has a sheen to it, but it's not as thick as a Monstera deliciosa, so that means its water ability to hold water is also lower. So that's why peace lilies need a lot of water, which is why I grow mine in water. I did that 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. I don't know, I made a video about it. And yeah, it loves it. It's flowered. It doesn't, you know, get all sad anymore and dramatic. So if you have a peace lily, put it in water and in low light and it's gonna be doing fine. My computer just died. I can't see the chat anymore. Computer's gone kaput. Oh no, it's back. It just went to sleep. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so by looking at the foliage of the plant, you can tell how much water and how much light it wants. But I think that that's something that, you know, you learn over time as you become more of a plant enthusiast or a plant hoarder and you collect more and more plants. Yeah, so Hoyas, this is why people say, you know, Hoyas are very robust, because Hoya leaves are very succulent. And if you get, you know, a Hoya that is mainly green, it will do well in many light conditions. This is why pothos do really well for the most part, because they're very light green and they're very, very drought tolerant. Calatheas have been, so I really started my plant collection with calatheas. I wanted like all the calatheas, but I have learned the hard way that calatheas just don't do well in my environment. Calatheas are just a lot happier, not only with more light. I mean, I think that a lot of people misunderstand so a lot of the tropical houseplants that we get are actually understory plants. And when we think of the understory, you imagine a forest and you imagine very dapple lighting. I did measure the light in a forest once, and you'd be surprised how much light there is. So I'm gonna probably do a video about what bright and direct light means to a plant, and you will be highly surprised that bright and direct light in an understory forest, even if there are very, very tall and old growth trees, they're actually getting more light than you get in your typical home, which was surprising to me to learn as well. So if you get this light meter app on your phone, go out when you're hiking and you're in the middle of a forest, just take it out and just measure the light, or walk under a tree. Oh, actually, that's another thing. If you go to an area, find a tree that has really, really dense foliage, and then go underneath it with your light meter, and then measure the light. You'll be surprised how much light is actually coming through. But no, you will look on the ground and there's nothing growing there. And that gives you a very good sign that, okay, plants actually, even weeds, don't like growing in this light condition if they can help it, right? They're not surviving or they're not thriving in this light condition. So I think it's, it's follow your curiosity, ask questions. Okay, what else? What other thoughts I can share with you guys? Yeah, and in my more recent spring edition of videos that I've made, I talk about introducing your plant to more light. The monstera that I just showed you guys earlier did get burned through the window because it's in Seattle. We get like gray for like months on end, and then boom, there's sunlight for like weeks on end. So the plant did get burned. So be careful of that when you're giving your plant too much light. But that's the beauty of having artificial lighting. You can control how close the light is to the plant. And then, if it's doing well, you can, lift it up higher or bring the light closer to it. So yeah, just experiment. But if you have any specific plants that you want to know about, let me know. I will try to answer that as well. What else? Yeah, I started to talk about earlier the balance between light and watering, and it's tricky because each plant is different. But as you become, more experienced with plants, you'll learn that some plants will do well, like peace lily, right? They can do well with a lot of water and not a lot of light. But some plants will hate that and will basically die. So I think it comes with experience. I don't believe everything you read on the internet, because I gotta tell you that there are a lot of conflicting information out there, and I guess I think in the beginning the most confusing thing as a houseplant lover is what is bright and direct light, because one of the things that really killed a lot of my calatheas was they were like, oh, it doesn't need a lot of light, and if it has red backing, that means it doesn't need as much light as a calathea without the purple backing. And none of this is actually supported by science. So I would dig a little deeper when you're doing your research and read the scientific papers, because the greenhouse industry, plant growers, they're paying scientists at the universities to do research for them. So if you want to know how to grow a calathea or a peperomia or just any plant really, they actually have scientific papers that tell greenhouses exactly how to grow the plant, what lighting, what medium, what water, and you, as a houseplant lover, can use that information in your own house. I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to replicate a greenhouse environment, but it's a good starting point. It's way more information, obviously, than what you get on a little tag that just says it loves bright and direct light. Like, what does that even mean? Okay, all this rambling obviously made me. Am I rambling? I'm sorry. Okay, I got 10 more minutes of rambling to go. But yes, research papers, scientifically backed up, is what you want. I can't remember which video it is, but Daryl from Houseplant Journals, if you don't know him, he's very famous on Instagram. He also has his own YouTube channel. He is an engineer by trade, so he goes about things very scientifically. And yeah, he collected a bunch of links that link directly to research papers for each of the individual plants that I talk about in the chart. I can't remember what video I did that in. Anyway, just look him up. Houseplant Journals, plant lists. I'm sure it'll come up because it's an Excel spreadsheet that he loaded onto his website. But you want research-backed information. One of the biggest, so going back to the calatheas, like, they need a lot more light than you actually think. So I don't agree that calatheas are low-light plants. What else is, like I said earlier, sansevieras, or now they're reclassified as dracaenas. Those snake plants are not low-light plants. Actually, in their natural habitat, they grow in full sunlight. So if you're putting your sanseviera in the dark, you're really just slowly killing them. I know it's not what people want to hear, because people want to put their plants where they want to, but that's just not, I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not what I want to do, because it's a living thing at the end of the day, and I want it to be happy, to some degree. Happy, healthy. Yeah, I think I made a video earlier on about my Dracaena sunray. If anybody knows anything about Dracaenas, it is sold as a low light plant. However, if you actually give it a lot of light, it's gonna grow a lot happier, much more beautiful, much more full. Yeah, I don't know why these manufacturers, growers, I think it's just easy, right? Because why else will they do it? Why would they not give you more specific directions to care for your plant better? I mean, I could think of a lot of reasons. Like, I guess one of the main reasons I would think that they would not tell you specifically how to care for the plant is so that you kill the plant and you have to buy another one, which happens all the time. But is that what we really want? I don't know.
It's all a big conspiracy.
It's hard. Have I talked about everything? Our dog has puked and not eaten any breakfast. Yeah, so if you have any questions out there? Have I talked about have I missed anything about lighting? I feel like I kind of went through it all. So let's talk about what's coming up. What's coming up? I don't know. I haven't been buying plants. I decided that I am no longer going to buy, well, if I see a plant locally and I would like to add it to my collection, I will allow myself to purchase it. However, I'm no longer, trying to go onto those purges on Facebook or going on Etsy or doing any of that. I'm not ordering in plants anymore. Except I am ordering aquatic plants, although I have tried to get them locally as well. But because of the pandemic, it's been difficult. But yeah, I'm no longer like running a plant wish list. And I feel happier about it, honestly. And I don't know if you guys know, but I stopped going on Instagram. Even though I'm still highly addicted to Facebook, I think having an addiction to one platform is enough. So if you ever want to ask me a question, you'll probably find me on Facebook. Hello, newcomers. Do you guys have any questions? We got 9 more minutes left to this live stream. We've been on for a while, and I've just been chatting. So we talked about the light meter, which I said you don't have to buy, just download it. I get a lot of my stuff off of Amazon because we have Amazon Prime and it just makes it super convenient, and I don't necessarily feel good about it. I don't know, stuck in this this age of convenience. We've gotten so lazy to a point where we don't even go out and buy groceries anymore. It's very sad. Is it sad? My mother would disapprove. You have to go pick your own vegetables. Otherwise, how do you know they're going to be fresh? I'll give you guys a little insight in my life. We might be moving, not anytime soon, obviously. But we might be moving to a much bigger place, and that means a lot more place for plants. And I'm really looking forward to doing some outdoor gardening. I really want to actually grow my own Asian vegetables. Mainly because in Seattle on the West Coast, we get most of our vegetables not from Florida like they do in New York. So in New York, most of the Asian produce are shipped from Florida up. So pretty fresh, I would say. But here, I notice in Seattle, and I don't know in California, I would imagine in California there's more farms that are growing Asian vegetables. But in Seattle, most of the Asian vegetables come from China. So by the time we get them, they don't last very long. And they're just not very good. So I would like to definitely start my own veggie garden, dedicated to Asian veggies, because I'm sorry, but American vegetables are just, they just don't cut it. We have so many Asian vegetables that you guys don't eat, which I'm just in awe. Why? Why not? It's so good. Okay, well, doesn't seem like anybody has any more questions. So yeah, that's going to be happening. I don't know when. I'll let you guys know when it happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having a veggie garden. I don't know if Dan is just making empty promises, but there might be a greenhouse and a pond potentially, and a lot of trees. I'm a big tree lover. Although I'm not very knowledgeable, I just like them, I admire them. Trees are cool. And what else? What else is happening in this new place? I don't know. We don't know yet. It is all to be determined. But definitely plants, veggie garden. I don't know if I want to do a pea patch, because I think like because I worked in, I volunteered at a farm in London, and there they had established a Pakistani Bangladesh community there around the farm area, and so there was this Bangladesh woman who grew a bunch of Bangladesh vegetables, which I got to eat some, and I thought it was amazing. Carrots and broccoli. Ugh, how boring. There's 3 people. We got 3 people left. Woohoo! Who's the 3 people? A shout out to those 3 people who stuck with me to the end, even though I'm so boring and ranty.
If anybody's watching this after the fact, feel free to leave a comment, ask questions. We can get back to you.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. And if you end up watching this, hang out after it goes live. Just feel free to put your questions or comments in the comment section below. We will be doing another live Q&A chat hangout the first Sunday of not May but June. We'll try to do this regularly so you guys can get, acquainted with my quirkiness. And yeah, I will see you guys. We're 4 minutes early. Should we just wrap it up?
Yeah, there was no official stop time, so.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you guys in the next live Q&A. Happy growing. End stream.
Stream is ended.